As the resin settled, what was left? Leather-like luxury. Or so I hope. Good tidings to you over there as always. And with us today, we have Leather Elixir by ELIXIR Fragrances. Now, I'm not 100% certain as to when this was released, such as last time we have another review on this channel of the same fragrance brand. I believe that one was Smoke Elixir. And still can't find too much on the old interwebs about these, other than they occasionally pop up at the old rack stores. This one showed up at Burlington. And looking at the note profiles, which we'll dig into in a little bit, this is very similar to Tom Ford's Tuscan leather. And as the previous one, not a whole lot with the bottle, pretty simple design, not much bite to the cap as well. Now, even though there isn't a lot about this on the old interwebs, luckily the box has the fragrance notes that we can take a peek at in a moment. But it also gives us a description, so let's see what that says. Leather Elixir captures the texture of fine leather, supple, polished, and touched with smoke. Notes of saffron and raspberry lend warmth and subtle brightness, while amber, cedar, and soft woods deepen the base into something quietly commanding. It's quite the little description for this bottle that is less than $20, but I guess we'll find out momentarily now, won't we? Now to touch on those full breakdown of notes, they are the following. Your top notes are saffron, raspberry, and thyme, and your middle notes are suede leather and jasmine sambac. Your base notes will be amber, cedarwood, and musk. As it usually goes around here, one for the sky, and of course one for the skin. Solid little spray right there. And one for the skin. And we'll let that sit for just a moment, and we'll be right back. And we are back. Now, I have only touched upon leather scents very mildly in the past, but this seems to be a true heart of leather type scent, especially since it is a potential inspiration of Tuscan leather. The way to explain the opening when you first spray this is harsh, burning tree/plants. A little charred smoke, that is. Not tobacco smoke, just forest smoke, I suppose would be another way to put it. But there is the slightest bit of raspberry. It is there. There's a little bitter berry in the back end. You mostly smell it when you spray it on your skin, not a whole lot in the air, but it's just a blip on the radar of the scents that pass through this. I will say if that's all this was about, it'd be a little uncomfortable to wear throughout the day, and luckily for us, the dry down really kind of pulls it back to a more enjoyable scent throughout its life. I would say the dry down is a very subtle dry molasses type thing going on with a little bit of that leather smoke still. It smells as if a businessman sitting down at a big boy with some Camel cigarettes or what have you. Definitely on the mature side. I don't think this would be a youthful scent. Now to get into the 4 Ps here, that is starting off with the price, it's around $16.99 at least at Burlington. A relatively low barrier to entry for a fragrance versus some other things that you can come across. So that's always lovely. And if you're someone like myself who kind of enjoys the old scent scratch-offs when you go to random stores, it's kind of fun to just throw 20 at things here and there and see if they're worth the mystery of a great fragrance. I suppose that's all. We all chase the scent dragon more or less, right? For performance, its cloud cardio is pretty decent, honestly. I got about 5-ish hours on my skin, and it lasted a little over 12 hours on my clothes until I gave up and decided to switch shirts just to see how long it would go for. On that note too, as I mentioned a moment ago, the skin scent seems to be a little bit more smooth after a few, like 2 hours or so, but the clothes scent that it was still holding on to was still pretty darn smoky. Smoky with respect to like what leather is, not like a tobacco vanilla smoke. For projection, its cloud cape is relatively decent. It's not a megaphone, but it's also not super duper quiet. Its first hour, it is relatively noticeable walking around in little pockets and what have you. So keep that in mind when you're trying to determine how many sprays you are going to throw on for the day for this guy. For practicality, I would say this is definitely a cold weather scent. The suede leather smoke, which is the predominant or prevailing winds of this fragrance, it carries it throughout its life pretty darn well, especially in the air. Now it does smooth out just a wee bit on the skin. For practicality, I would say this is a cold weather scent. Now, I've only worn this a few times. I haven't had a gumball rally of sorts to see how long it can really last throughout its entire different trials of temperatures. But from what I could gather from what it smells like, rainy days, soft temperature nights seem to be the best bet for this. If not, that little leather smoke thing going on could be a little bit too much when it starts getting a little hot outside. I would give this a 3.75 out of 5 little clouds. The opening is a tad much, but it does mellow out after a little while. It's affordable. It's less than $20. It will last you. It's kind of on that fine line of being too loud. Definitely wouldn't do more than 5 sprays with this. Also, I wouldn't wear this in anything that's super restricted area in case it does start leaving too many scent pockets for those that aren't really enjoying the more mature scent leather thing going on. For my personal opinion, this fragrance is not the worst. I'd reach for it every now and then just to kind of change up the profiles of the usual fruits and freshes and things of that nature. But if all that doesn't sound like your jazz, then this probably won't be your jam. Feel free to like and subscribe. I never mind it, and I always do appreciate it. And I always do appreciate you. Anyhow, anywho, and anyway, I appreciate you stopping on by as always, and I do hope to see you again real soon. Goodbye for now.